Hey guys, it's Katie at scrapandkatie.ctmh.com, and I am going to show you a fun pull-out card using our Craft with Heart card subscription. Now this is the subscription that is about to expire. In fact, my new box, my new 4-month box is on its way and should be delivered soon. But I've been making a couple of teacher gifts, and so I thought that I would show you one of the card styles that I've made. It's a pull-out with either I'm attaching gift cards, but you could really attach anything. And being that I'm using these cards that are really already, the card base is printed, they're pretty much designed for me, it's going to make it really easy. So I wanted to share that with you and kind of give you some measurements and walk you through assembling those. So I am going to pull out my subscription box, and I do have a couple of walkthroughs, so if you've never seen our subscription box, I'll leave a link down below. I'm going to be using this card base. Now, this card actually is portrait style. The thing I'm about to show you actually works best with a landscaped card. So I'm going to make this one, we're just going to switch it like that. So I'm going to pull out that pre-printed card base. You can see where these lines are already printed on there. And then I am going to pull out the die cuts. Now, the die cuts are clearly labeled. This one happens to be card 2. So I'm just going to punch out these little elements all within that solid black line for card 2. And then I'm going to show you the cards that I actually made for the teachers at the end of this video to show you how it works with the cards that have the shaker elements. So I've got those, and then we can just punch these out of those little scallops. And then I prefer to do all my stamping first, just to kind of get it out of the way. And I am pretty clumsy with an ink pad, so I also prefer to do that and get the ink pad closed so I don't accidentally put any ink where it shouldn't go. So here is the piece that I'm going to be stamping. The exclusive stamp set that came with this last Craft with Heart has a bunch of fun sentiments, and I'm going to use You're Kind of the Best Ever. This is the sentiment that I used for the teachers, and I really just think it's kind of a versatile, I'm trying to find the right block. I think it's just a versatile stamp set. So it could be, you know, a thank you card. It could be, you know, like I said, a teacher's gift. Now, I want to pull in, for my sentiment, I'm going to pull in black ink, since I do have black on those flowers. And then I am just going to slightly twist, kind of blot that off. And I am going to stamp that in the middle, as close as I can get it. Doesn't really matter because some of those flowers actually will go over the side of that sentiment. Now, like I said, I need to put this black ink up, and that is all we need the stamp set for. So I'm going to go ahead and move it off to the side, and then we can start assembling this little pull-out. So I'm going to get my cutter, and depending on, if I can find my cutter, depending on the type of cutter you have, you kind of have to know where your blade is. So what I want to do is I want to cut along that score line. So I'm just going to line this card up at 4 1/4, and that should get me pretty close to the score line. Now, to make this pull-out work, you want to start your cut at 3/4 of an inch. So on my rail cutter, I'm able to just put that blade right there at 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to cut up, leaving 3/4 of an inch. So since this is a 5 1/2 inch card, I'm going to cut up to 4 3/4. And then I'm just going to kind of go back and forth just to make sure it's really cut, but trying not to go past those 3/4 of an inch edges. So we've done that. I'm going to go ahead and fold that. And then I am going to take another one of our card bases. These are just our pre-scored card bases. And I am going to cut this at 3 3/4 by 5. And what that's going to allow me to do is that's going to allow me to slide it in and out. Now there's one other step that I want to do, is I want to cut 1/2 inch strips down, leaving 1/2 inch tabs. So on my particular cutter, I'm going to line this left edge up with 1/2 inch. I'm going to start my blade up over the top edge, and I'm going to cut down and stop my cut at 1/2 inch. So that gives me a 1/2 inch piece right here, leaving a 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it over, and this time we're going to cut from the bottom, because this is where we want to cut and we want to leave that intact. So line that left edge up 1/2 inch, start at the bottom, and then stop at 1/2 inch, which would be 3 1/4. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut straight across. You could do this on your cutter. It's just really easy just to take your scissors and snip those off. And then I'm going to trim these down ever so slightly. So maybe a 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. Now there are die cuts that you can purchase that actually do these little slider cards. But if you don't have a die cut, that's kind of why I wanted to show you how to do this. So I'm going to take my card base back, and I am using some tear tape. You want to make sure that you have a very strong tape, and I am just going to tape as close to the edge as I can. And the reason we need it as close to the edge is because the dimensions that we cut this little insert, it can't go too far to the center of the card. And that's another reason why we trim just a tiny bit off of those little tabs so they could slide. And then I'm going to put a piece along the bottom to create that little pocket. And again, this just really needs to be some strong adhesive. Now just to make sure this is going to work, I'm going to just kind of slide my little insert in here. And see how those tabs stop that from going all the way through? That's why you need the tabs. And then I'm just going to check to make sure that there's just a little edge between these tabs and this tape. And that's going to allow it to move pretty freely. They do get hung up, but not that much. Okay, so I'm happy with that. The next thing I'm going to check is I'm just going to make sure that once this is down hiding, that it's not going to disappear. So I'm going to put it with just about 1/8 of an inch showing. And then I want to put another piece of tape right there, and that will make it where it does not go all the way down into the card. Because once we shut this card, there's no opening it. If this little piece goes all the way down, the recipient will not get to open it. Okay, so we've got that. The last thing I want to do is I have a thin cut from a special that was sometime last year. I can't remember what month. If this is still available on my website, I will definitely link it. But I want to go die cut that. Again, if you do not have a die cut, you can just finish this off with just doing some little edge cuts, or you could just even leave it like it is, and we could do some sort of tag up at the top letting the recipient know to pull. So I'm going to go over to my die cut machine and just run this through so I can get that cut. Okay, so I've got that cut. You see how they just cut really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and insert this down. I'm going to pull this down can see, okay, so see how that goes? If that were to go all the way down to this tape, it would disappear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip off, and then I'm going to stick another strip that's kind of on top of it. I don't want a full strip because I don't want that tab sticking out too much, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to kind of lay it over. Okay, so now I can just peel all of these off, and then we can close this card front and then build the rest of the card. Well, okay, so last piece. I want to make sure that those tabs are not touching that adhesive. And then we are just going to shut this and then just really run our fingers. If you have a bone folder, you could also do that. Just make sure that that adhesive really sticks. Again, my tear tape is pretty strong. I love it. I'll leave a link down below if you want to grab some of it. So here is that pull tab. Again, it stops because of those little tabs that we created. It goes down, but not too far down. It just barely sticks right there. And then we're going to build the rest of the card. So here are the, well, here are the instructions, but we're just going to kind of look here at the photo. And since my tab is over on the left, I kind of want this focal piece over on the left as well. So I am going to just add adhesive to this little piece. And you know, I just love these Craft with Heart cards because it makes creating a card so easy. Of course, you know, I am kind of doing my own thing with this one. But you don't have to. You can just do it exactly the way it is. They turn out super cute. And it looks like you spent a long time on it. So I'm just going to bring this in kind of to try and see where I want to place that. So I'm liking that this leaf is off the edge a little bit. So I'm going to repeat that, and then I'm going to add some 3D foam tape. Now these, or this Craft with Heart subscription came with some shakers. Now if you know our shaker foam and acetate packages, you use the outer side of these shapes for the shaker element, but then you have all these little inside 3D foam tapes that you can use, which is what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to peel these off right quick and then get this focal piece attached to the front. And then I'll be able to add that little last leaf bunch behind here. So I'm going to put that right there, making sure that my sentiment is as straight as it can be. And then I'm going to come in with this, and we're going to adhere it. So I think I'm going to do it like that. So usually these come with everything you need except your favorite adhesive. And of course I always have all my adhesive around, so I kind of go back and forth between my tape adhesive and my liquid adhesive, and then of course your 3D foam tape is included. So that is really the front of the card. Now the only thing left would be to take a gift card, and you can attach it to here with glue dots, or you could even write your sentiment on there as well. So I'm going to bring in the teacher cards that I made and show you how it looks with a gift card. So this particular one did have a shaker element. So this is the original card, and I just ended up adding this shaker element to the card. And then you can see here how you pull on it, and then it's got the gift card. And again, I just attached that with glue dots. And on this particular one, I did the barcode. So if she did not want to take it off, then she could just take it and scan it if she wanted to. And then we have this one, and it has a pencil gift card. So just really loving this style. Again, it's just something different that you can do with these cards from the Craft with Heart subscription. It's something fun that you can add. And again, you don't have to do a gift card. You could just simply write your sentiment on this pull out and give it to the recipient. If you have any questions, definitely leave me a comment. If you liked what you saw, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. And if you aren't already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and sign up for notifications so you'll be alerted the next time I post a crafty video. Again, I'll leave all the links down below to the Craft with Heart subscription, as well as any of the products that I used if they're still available, and then any measurements that you might need for this little pull out. Thanks, and have a great week.